Hello, 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 everyone. You know I had to pop in here tonight because this is not this is not my regular show. Tap in Tuesday. Tonight we are doing If These Books Could Talk. Yes, if these books could talk. I know y'all just so confused on what we got going on here. Hook a sister up. But tonight it is Hook a Sister Up Media and Promotions, and what we do is promote women entrepreneurs and we promote entrepreneurs on the show. So our guest interview tonight is from author Tika McCoy of Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands. Yes, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands. So I know y'all can't wait to check out author Tika McCoy. I just love her name, y'all. But y'all gonna enjoy the show tonight because Tika been busy, and I'm so glad and honored to catch her, actually. She's been so busy that I was able to catch her tonight to do a show. I like doing author interviews because although we see the books, we don't know what goes into the books. We don't know the why and the reason behind the book. So that's what you get to check out tonight when we're interviewing Tika. We get to know why she wrote her book and the reasons behind it. And the main thing, get the story from the author herself. So tonight, you're just gonna love it. So y'all, I'm gonna give y'all an opportunity to get straight. So I'm going to introduce myself first and a little bit about Hook a Sister Up before I bring on Tika. And Tika is going to do what she has to do in the background to share to her groups so her people know where she is and can check her out. This live show is streaming from StreamYard. It is streamed on my personal page, Linda Outerbridge. It is streamed on Hook a Sister Up Community, and it is streamed on Women Who Write GR. So, again, Linda Outerbridge from Hook a Sister Up. And tonight we are interviewing author Tika McCoy of Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands. Hey there, Tika. I told you, I said, I'll just do a thumbs up. I can see you. Look who joined me, you guys. Author Tika McCoy of the Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
You
for
made
having
it.
me. Thank you for having me.
I know. I just want to start with thank you for taking the time to jump on here and allow me to interview you about your book because I've been seeing you making moves and you're outside of Grand Rapids. You're making moves everywhere. So I know just taking the time to slow down a bit, jump on here for 20, 25 minutes and share your book is a treat for us. So thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing Hook a Sister Up Media Promotions to interview you tonight. So thank you again for joining us. We do have a guest, and what I'll be doing. Thank you so much for Odessa for joining us. So just so you know how the platform goes, when you jump on as a guest, I'll be popping you in so we can see who's in the house. So thank you so much, Odessa, from hanging out with us tonight and joining us. So Tika, let's get right into it. I am not gonna wait. Do you have anything to share before I read your bio? Because I'm just going to jump right in.
Just go right in.
Okay. Do you have your book on you to show us?
I have it. I have it sitting right here. There it is.
You didn't bring this book.
Yep, I have it.
Okay, so we're gonna get going. If you don't have anything to share, um, Tika McCoy. Let's talk Tika tonight. Tika McCoy is a passionate Christian who finds joy in spending time with Jesus and delving deep into His Word. Armed with a master's degree in family and consumer science, she seeks to empower and support Christian women as they navigate the challenges of life after grief, loss, and divorce. McCoy's desire to uplift and encourage shines through her words, offering solace and guidance to those in need. Beyond her professional endeavors, McCoy finds joy in her role as a cat mom to Sasha and Bella. I hate cats. when she's not when she's not immersed in her work or spending time with her feline companions, McCoy indulges in her passions for biking, traveling, and reading. Currently residing in Michigan, she also finds immense joy in observing and admiring God's awe-inspiring creations, including bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. It's beautiful. Her memoir, Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands, reflects her deep love for God, her dedication to helping others, and her unwavering belief in the power of faith and restoration. Through her writing, McCoy aims to uplift and inspire readers, offering them a glimpse of the transformative grace that can be found in a life dedicated to Christ. Dedicated to Christ. Find out more about Tika McCoy at tikamccoy.com. Thank you so much, Tika. I love, love, love reading your bio. You just this is beautiful.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for
Oh,
inviting me.
girl, I'm reading this going. It's just like I'm an outdoorsy kind of girl. So when I hear things about bees and butterflies and just looking and enjoying God's work and what He's done, so I'm so outdoorsy. So when I'm reading that, it's like I was out there. It's like I could see it moving around
Yeah.
me as I was reading it. So wow. And because I also know that you do a lot of lives in your outdoors, most of your lives are walking, you're
Hmm.
outdoors, showing something, sharing where you are walking. And that's another thing I love about you is just watching those lives. Because if I'm at work and can't get out, it's so nice to see that.
Yeah.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a beautiful, beautiful person.
Thank you.
So I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready to talk about the book. I did not share that I will be asking you to read an excerpt from the book. So I'm sure you have a favorite place in there. So just be prepared to read that once we get to that part.
Okay.
Whatever space you hold as your favorite spot.
Okay.
So I know I do want to do that with you. So let's get to the first question for you. And a guest, when you're watching, please, please, please know that you can leave a comment. You can ask a question. You can, if you need clarification about something Tika is sharing about her journey of writing in her book, please drop those in the comments. I see them. I'll bring them on the screen so we can see them and Tika can answer them live for you here. I'd rather you do it here than try to catch up with her after the fact. We want to make this engaging. So please engage with Tika and share what you can and ask whatever questions you need to ask while you're here. Okay. So my first question for you, Tika, why did you write your memoir? Let's talk about that. Why this memoir? Why this book?
So as I was going through all of my challenges, I eventually got to a point where I noticed a change in myself, right? I wasn't as angry. I was able to sleep at night. And I was like, how did that happen? Because I know I didn't do it, right? I know that it wasn't anything that I did because I was too angry to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And in reflection and in journaling, it just dawned on me. And that's a weird way to say it, but it was God that brought me through. And so I wrote my memoir out of obedience. So I believe it's Mark 5:19 when he says, go home to your people and tell them what
Mm.
the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you. And I had to write my book in order to share with others what the Lord had done for me, hoping to inspire them that whatever storm you're going through, one, you're not alone, even though you feel like you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
God's going to bring you out of that storm. And so I had to be obedient to God.
I love it. And that moved you to write your memoir. It's
Yes.
like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
I had to share it. Linda, it was just really one of those things where, like I said, when I began to notice the change in myself,
Mm-hmm.
how did that, what? How did that happen? How am I a different person now? And it was all God.
And while you're talking, I'm thinking, how does it start? Because I'm not a writer. I don't have the patience. I may have a story in me, but I don't have the patience. I can't even sit still that long. If you know anything about me, I'm all over the place doing all kind of things. I don't think I have the patience or know how to gather my thoughts. How did you gather your thoughts to do this? I know you wanted to do it. And you're talking about the story of how it all happened, but
Mhm.
how did you sit still to get it all in? Or what is your process and how you did that?
So I was journaling. And so once I knew that I had to tell my story, my journals changed a little bit in terms of not only did I have devotion in my journaling, but also I would talk about things that I noticed were different in me. So I would put that in my journal. And I would begin to think of different things that happened over the years, and the impact that had on my faith, and how it strengthened my faith. And so, Linda, there were times when a thought would come to me and I would be driving in a car and I would just like send myself a text message. I would just go to the voice recorder on my text and I would text myself a message, or I would grab a sticky note and write a sticky note. So when it was time to sit down and write my book, I grabbed all of those voice messages that I sent myself.
Look at that.
I grabbed those sticky notes that I had, the things that I had in my journal, and then just began trying to piece things together. And finally, then starting to just sit down at the laptop. And I'll be honest. So when I began to sit down, I know the rule of thumb is to have an outline.
Right.
I didn't necessarily have an outline. I just had journal thoughts and sticky notes. And so based on that, I began writing. And then once I had, somewhat of chapters outlined, then I started to do my outline in terms of this chapter should come next. Maybe this one, I don't think I need this chapter. This is going on the cutting room floor. So it was a process.
Wow. So she just told y'all, don't have to get it all together. You don't have to write the whole book to make a book, to get it together. She said sticky notes and recordings. Yes, sticky notes and recordings. I am so glad you said that, because I always wondered about that. I was like, I'm not really organized. So how would I even start? I wouldn't even know how to start. I'm not organized. But I am so glad you shared that you don't have to have it all together. You just got to start.
You just have to start. You have to start.
For y'all who want to write, she just told y'all, just start. Kimberly Camp, thank you so much for joining us. I had to throw your message up there when it came in because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget it for one. So thank you so much for joining us. I know we're proud of her too, girl. Everybody's just so excited for her. So thank you for joining us. But thank you so much for sharing that, Tika, because again, I know everybody got a story. Everybody has something they want to share, and they're so afraid. For me, I use the excuse. I just can't do it. I use all these excuses, but I know that if I really want to sit down and do it, all I have to do is talk to somebody who really did it. My husband, he'll sit down and write a book, nothing. He could do that. He could do it. I just don't have that muscle to do that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love my you got a little name, huh? Love my tick tick. Is that it? I love it. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Again, but yes, I just thank you so much for sharing that, because so many of us have stories and people have stories. They just want to share it. And it's nice to know that the backstory. Yeah. I like to hear the start story.
And then I will share too that once I had chapters written, I did finally work with a writing coach, because I wrote in a silo.
Yes.
So no one read it but me. I didn't know, you think it's wonderful, but then I didn't know, maybe it was trash. I don't know. But I eventually met a writing coach at a conference, a women's conference that I went to, a Christian women's conference, and her and I connected. We came back from that conference and we worked together for a year. So then I was able to send her chapters, and she asked me questions. Do you really want this paragraph in there? Maybe take this paragraph out and expand on this, paragraph a little more. So then I had a second set of eyes. Right. And that was encouraging, because I really didn't know if what I had was any good. And having that writing coach, she encouraged me a lot along the way.
I love that, because you have to get out, because we talk about that all the time as women entrepreneurs. You're at the dining room table working in a silo. You don't know what you don't know. You think your stuff is, but exactly. You somebody come along and tell you it's not. You're like, wait a minute, but you've gotten so deep into it. Now you got to trash it all and start over. So, so it's good to catch them early on, so you know you're not alone, and run it past someone. I like that idea that you did that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody have any questions in the audience? I like to throw it out there just to see if you guys have something to share before we go on to the next question. Y'all better listen up close, because after she get off here, you better write your notes. But you don't have to write your notes. Just watch the replay. Just in case you missed something, because she's telling you her blueprint on how all this has happened. Okay, so You refer to your book as a working memoir. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so, as I was going through all of my trials and tribulations, I suffered in silence. I didn't tell
Mm,
anyone what I was going through. I was embarrassed by it. I was ashamed that my husband was having an affair. I was just ashamed that our marriage had just turned into just a lot of pain and trauma. And not only that, like, even though we were going through all of that, I still wanted my marriage.
mm,
So I didn't want to share a lot of negative things. And we worked it out, right? Because when you work it out and you share all these things and then you show up for
mm-hmm.
Christmas dinner and people are like, Tika, what? Like, how are you coming home for Christmas dinner after you told us all these awful things?
Right.
So I suffered in silence. So in my book, I wanted to have discussion questions. So
Mm-hmm.
as women are reading chapters, and if they are self-identifying or things are, resonating with them, then they have some questions in there to see where they're at on their journey.
Right.
And I have Bible passages in there also to point them to. So I really, really want to help women on their journey because, again, like I said, I suffered in silence.
Mm,
And we really don't have to. And when you're going through so much in life, to be able to have some questions to just help you think through the process, where you're at on your journey.
right.
And should you reach out to a Christian counselor? Because I speak about that, right? So I have that in there. So when I say it's a working memoir, I want the reader to know it's not all about me. They can also identify where they're at on their own journey.
Right.
So they're working and taking notes and highlighting and answering discussion questions.
I love it. And I love the part that it's a read along. It's a, like you said, a journal that you're able to just take that, I call it data dump. You're able to dump that and then put it right there in the book and then read what you wrote because that's what journaling does. It frees you from all that stuff in your head and getting
Mm-hmm.
it out. So I like that you have the opportunity to do the journaling as well, not just reading your book. So
Yes.
that is so great. You really thought that out. You really thought how you're going to do that. Tell your story, help yourself, and then help others.
Yes.
So I do like that. Yeah, I like that. Any questions? I see Kimberly is probably still on. TT. Uh, what is important? Now, this is a question. Why is it important for you to share how your faith changed over the course of the trauma you experienced? Why is it important that you share that?
Yeah, and so my faith journey isn't just a linear journey where my immediate family didn't go to church. I had evangelizing angels in my life. I went to
Mm,
church with my aunt, with my
right,
sister-in-law, my grandma, one of my mom's best friends. So I always had someone picking me up on Sunday morning, taking me to church. But I didn't always stay in the faith, right? So you think about double dutch where you have to kind of jump in the rope. I was like
mm-hmm,
always jumping in and out of
mm-hmm,
the faith. And Linda, when I reached the point where I finally cried out to God
mm,
and he heard my prayer and he answered me,
mm, mm, mm.
that was another one of those moments where I just felt like, Lord, thank you
Wow,
for hearing me, for
right.
loving me, even though I was in and out of the faith.
Mm.
I wasn't committed like I should have been.
But God was committed to you, wasn't he?
God was committed to
Ooh.
me. So, like the prodigal son, right? The prodigal daughter, I cried out to him. He heard my cry and answered my prayer. So, I wanted to share that also that no matter where you're at on your journey, you can always come home. God wants you to come home. Don't think whatever you've done in life that you can't, because we'll hear people say, well, I need to get myself together before I go to church.
Mm-hmm.
So, the reason your life is messed up is the reason you need to be in church.
Exactly.
God wants you there. And so I had to share that because I wanted people to know that this hasn't, my faith, what my faith is today, it hasn't always been that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But God, he loves me.
Girl.
And I just had to share that even though I was in and out and he didn't hold that against me.
Mm-hmm. It
Right.
is so nice and beautiful that you're able to go, although you're wavering on the fence back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
that is to show up and be
Yes.
accepted.
Yes.
Because, some churches kind of like, I don't see you on a regular, you're not a member. But to know that open doors, open arms, it was there for you whenever you decide to show up. That's a
Yes.
beautiful thing, because sometimes it's so discouraging when you go back and forth and then people are not allowing you to go back and forth. But it's so good that whenever you decide to, that the church and God was there for you. So that is just so good, Tika, just to hear that. And most people are not transparent as you have been. You've been quite transparent, just talking to you here on how everything happened, and that takes a lot to be that transparent about everything you've gone through in your personal life, things of that nature. So when authors are writing books, yeah, they're putting their life out there, they're putting
Yeah.
their stories out there, and that takes a lot to do that. So thank you, and we commend you for doing that, because that's a personal journey you're taking, and you're making sure that people read it and people, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to be honest, right? I
Wow.
wanted to come with the honesty, and I wanted to be transparent because I know that all of our walks are different. It's not always easy,
Mm-hmm.
and so I wanted people to know that no matter what your walk is, right,
Right.
through God's grace and love, we'll get through it.
Right.
And I share some hard things in here, and I want people to know that whatever your hard things are, God will see you through. So
Mm.
I had to be honest.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, I do thank you. And you're freezing up here and there, so you let me know if I'm freezing up, because I can't tell on my end. But hopefully, God got this channel that it's going to be okay, that we can finish this
It's gonna
interview.
be okay. Yes.
Okay, so let's get to your favorite chapter of the book. And when you get to your favorite chapter of the book, let us know why, and definitely feel free to read some excerpts or read, the chapter that is your favorite chapter. And why is your favorite chapter?
Okay. So one of my favorite chapters is titled "Coming on Christian Experience," and
Mm,
there were many instances as I was going along my journey where God would present Himself to me. And sometimes when that happens, we just think, that can't, it can't be God. We just think that it's a coincidence.
mm-hmm.
But in this chapter, I document one of the most powerful ways that God presented Himself to me, and it totally changed my faith. So this is on the 1 year anniversary of my mother's death. I
Mm,
did not want to go to church that Sunday. The anniversary actually fell on a Sunday, and I remember thinking, I don't feel like greeting anybody. I don't feel like anybody hugging and kissing on me. I
mm-hmm.
just want to stay in bed and just, grieve and just be
Right,
mad,
right. To
right?
be mad. Mm-hmm.
Be mad. And it's just amazing how God works. I remember texting a friend, and the friend texted back and said, "Trust me, you'll feel better if you go to church." And I remember just kind of having an attitude like, ugh. Like I wanted my friend to say, "Girl, just go back to bed. You deserve."
Why you gonna tell me to go to church? I'm trying to go back to bed.
I'm trying to go back to bed. And my friend never did that. And so I finally got up and got in the shower. So the excerpt that I'm going to read is what happened when I got in the shower.
Okay.
So I started the shower, attached my iPhone to the speaker, turned Pandora to shuffle, just as I always had done, and got in the shower. The first song that played was Tamala Mann's "Take Me to the King." And
Mm,
the second
mm-mm.
song was Yolanda Adams' "Open My Heart." I broke down and cried. Those songs made me feel seen. They offered a solution to the depression, loneliness, anger, and sadness that had become my reality. Even though those songs were the balm I needed, I was taken aback when I heard them. I didn't have a single gospel station in my Pandora account, but somehow these two gospel songs played back to back.
Mm,
Was
mm-mm.
God speaking to me? It must have been divine intervention, right? What else could it be? So,
Ooh.
having that experience, the fact that I woke up, I did not want to go to church. I was wanting to out by texting my friend, hoping that my friend would just say, "Go back to bed." I reluctantly get in the shower. And when I tell you my Pandora station didn't have any gospel station, right? I had old, 80s hip hop on there, R&B, some reggae stations, like any station you could think of outside of gospel. but 2 gospel songs played back. I couldn't ignore that, Linda. I was like,
that's a sign for you.
it's a sign, like that the whole setup that morning. And I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? And it changed. And that morning, it continued. God continued to show up that entire morning. So, and I won't read this, but I'll just quickly tell you. I get to church. I barely make it on time. My father looked at me and say, you need to start going to bed earlier at night. I barely made it to church. But the pastor that Sunday was asking for testimonies on the goodness of God. And when he asked for more people to get up, I raised my hand, walked up there and shared what happened to me that morning.
Wow.
Then when he said the doors of the church are open, I joined. I could not join. It was too much. So God presented himself. So that's my favorite chapter because
that's a story.
It changed everything. And it gave me a thirst to just want to learn more about this God and to just recognize that he does speak to us. You know, I couldn't ignore how those songs played. There was no way those songs should have been playing on my Pandora. I should have.
She said I had no channel, R&B and
no, it should have been an old school Run DMC playing, a Luther Vandross, because those were the stations I had.
Look, you were getting fed and you didn't know how and why.
I was
because that's how it happens. God be like, you be walking and whistling, doing your own little thing, and he'll step in there and trip you up.
And again, I didn't have an answer for that. That's why I was like, is God talking to me?
Like, and look how it came. And look how it came.
Yes.
And everything else happened after that. It's like,
yes.
Girl, Kimberly said, God said, not today.
Not today.
I love Kimberly. It's like, not today. You're going to listen to this music and you're going to go do everything you need to do after.
Yes.
You're not going back to R&B, everything else. What are we going to do with her? See, I'm going to have her on here because that is so true. And that's how it happens. It happens like that. And you just had to be listening. See, some people ignore the signs and don't see it. You were open, you were ready, and you were accepting. Because you could have easily just said, something wrong with my Pandora. Let me go find something else and shuffled your way back to R&B. But you didn't. You didn't. You listened. You obeyed. And look what happened.
Yes. Yes.
Look what happened. Girl, Kimberly, you right, girl. We going gospel today. Yes, exactly. So thank you so much for sharing that excerpt. Which chapter is that?
That is the chapter titled Coming on Christian Experience, and it is chapter number, I believe, number 6. Okay. Chapter number 5.
Okay. Can you also share some of your other chapter titles, just to give the audience an idea of some of the things, your titles?
Yeah. One title is My Name is Job. And so, yeah, that's a whole thing. And just, how Job had all of these things happen to him.
Oh, no, tell us. I'm curious now.
Yeah. So, in the book of Job, it starts out that Job was upright and blameless in God's eyes. And then God and Satan are having a conversation, and God lets Satan basically test Job. And so Job loses his family. He loses all of his livestock. He gets sick and he has all of these boils on him. But Job never cursed God. He was still praising God. And I have this chapter in here because I share the beginning of what happened in terms of all of the drama and things that my husband and I were going through. And I put in there that I wish that we had the faith of Job.
Wow.
Because had we had the faith of Job, I believe we would have did things differently. One of the things my pastor is always saying is that, we are always doing things on our own understanding, and that's where we make mistakes. And so that's exactly what was happening with my husband and I. We were just doing things on our own understanding and making a mess. So I just wish we had the faith of Job. But but we didn't.
Oh,
We didn't.
your book is going to help so many women because I can tell you this, you're not the only one going through this or have gone through this. So just reading your testimony, your stories of transparency again, because you are laying it all out there. Uh, uh, um, it's counseling for you and someone else, but not bus. I can just see if ladies, if you have not read the book, if you are going through this, please, please, please get Broken Clay. And please tell me again how you came up with Broken Clay. How'd you come up with that title?
Totally understanding that I was a broken vessel, that I was really in my mind just beyond repair. And God is the potter, and he's the one that put me back together. And I came to him broken, and he, God's like, that's the way I want you. I want you to come broken, right? You need to be broken down so I can
yes,
back
yes.
up.
Girl, say the title again. It's just I understand it now.
Yeah, Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands.
Potter's hands.
And God is the ultimate potter. So, and I don't know the Bible verse, but it talks about, the potter, forming us. And yeah.
Whew. Well, I'm with Kimberly now because she's already started some stuff now. It's hard to jump off here now because it is the story. I hate to say story. It's more of a testimonial. It's a story, but it's a testimonial.
Mm-hmm.
So just hearing everything that you've gone through and you're just sharing that. The title, like I said, when I heard Broken Clay, I didn't get it at first.
I'm glad you asked. Yeah.
Because, the titles, people come up with titles for books and they're not just pulling them out the sky. There's something attached to that emotion or story or background or history or traumatic experience, something attached to that. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for sharing that because now I get it. And especially since you've read some of the chapters. Mm-hmm. And the way you said it, God wants you to come broke. He wants you to come broken.
Yes.
Don't come if you already got together. I have nothing to fix.
Right. come to me broken, so then that way you can have total trust and faith in me.
Yes.
Because when we rely on ourselves, we just make a mess. And we have faith and trust that God is going to do what he needs to do to repair us.
Y'all heard what Tika McCoy said. That's all I have to say. Yes, I'm saying her full name because it's deserving of a full name. It ain't just Tika. It's Tika McCoy today.
Thanks.
So my one thing, I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
If you guys want to pipe up in the comments, please share because we're rounding this off. I knew it'd be about 25 minutes, but we're doing good. What would you tell someone who wants to share their story? You've talked a lot about your story. If someone really wanted to get it out, what would your advice be to them on how to start? You talked about how to start writing, but what would you tell someone who would really want to tell their story?
Yeah, I would tell them to first find out their why, right? So when I was sharing with you a little earlier, when I said I began to notice a change in me, and I knew it wasn't anything that I did because I wanted to stay mad, right? I wanted to stay angry. I wanted to grieve. I mean, those were feelings that I wanted to be mad. I wanted to cry. And I began to notice a change that I was sleeping at night. So my why became, God did it, right? So understanding that why,
right,
when you write your story, because you can share, your memoir from your childhood up until, you get married, but, there should be a why in there. What is it that you're wanting the reader to know? And so I wanted the reader to know that God was with me the entire way. Here's how I know he was with me. Use my father to, minister to me. He used my family. And so that was my why. So I had to understand my why. So I would say, if you want to write your book, what is your why? What is it that you want the readers to know? That you were broken, and how did you, or, how did God change you? What was the change in your life? And what is the inspiration that others can gain from that? Because
there you go.
Because one of the chapters that I have in here is Trip of a Lifetime. So I have all of these hard chapters, but that's like my second favorite, where I talk about where I'm finally starting to feel healed and I'm taking a vacation by myself. It took me a minute to go to restaurants by myself, but finally getting to that
Wow.
point of healing. So this chapter is a positive chapter.
Right.
That, these are not only will God heal you, but these are the other strengths that he's going to get you to go through. So to understand your why and just that story arc, right? Understanding story arc will look like.
I love that story arc. And I can imagine that had to be tough. Now, some people are good with that, going places by themselves, but when you're used to being in a relationship, marriage, having to now become that singular focus, you are the singular focus in finding out what you love, what you like to do, and then going there by yourself. I can only imagine that had to be tough, but you did it. And especially a solo trip.
Yep.
That journey itself was like, okay, but you
It
did
was
it.
it was hard, and I had many nights where I cried. I remember the first
Mm,
time I went to a restaurant by myself, because at first I would just go through a drive-through, or I would just order something and pick it up.
right.
And I wanted to finally, just see what would happen when I go to a restaurant. And I cried. I was so embarrassed. I remember asking them, just pack up the food so I can go home, because I
Oh,
felt like
wow.
people were looking at me. I felt like,
Mm,
do they, is anyone feeling sorry for me? And when I moved, we sold our marital home, and I bought a house, and I was living on my own. That was my first time living on my own. I truly went from my parents' house to my husband and I.
wow.
So I remember being afraid, like, okay, what is that sound? House is settled. I was nervous.
Hmm.
And my brother, bless his heart, he would just come over and walk through the house. He's like, Tika, everything's okay.
I can only imagine, because it is when you're there by yourself, it's quiet and
Yes,
you just, every wall crack, crook, everything is just,
everything,
you're heightened.
everything. Yeah. It took a while. And then, I eventually got there with, of course, God giving me the strength and the courage every step of the way. And so now I enjoy doing things by myself. I'm not afraid to do things by myself anymore.
Because you're everywhere. I see you moving. I said, this one here just be everywhere. Look at this one, just all over the place. So, um, share, how long has it been, and how long, when did the process of writing a book happen after you got
So
divorced?
So the first year after my divorce,
Okay.
so we divorced in 2013. We had a bunch of things happening in 2010, 2011. My mom died in 2013.
Mm,
But in 2014, that first year after my divorce, that's when I began to recognize that, there's some changes in me. And that's when I began journaling and making notes. So I had a lot of pages and journals. And so from 2014 really to 2018, 19, I had things. I didn't necessarily do a lot, but once the pandemic hit in 2020 and we didn't have anywhere else to go,
mm-hmm.
said, okay, I might as well finish up some things. So I did sit on it for several years. I probably journaled really well and took notes from 2014 and maybe 2016. And then from there, I kind of sat a little bit. And once the pandemic hit, I just got busy. I had the time, and there wasn't anywhere else to go. So then during that pandemic, I wrote all the chapters. And once everything opened up, that's when I went to the women's conference and met the writing coach and finished.
Wow.
So I would say really heavy, heavy writing. 2020 to 2022, I got it all done.
Look at that.
Published in September 2023.
Yeah, she took that time. I don't care what's going on. If you really want to do it, you can do it. And Tika took the time to do it, you guys. So, and I know some people have those manuscripts thrown in their drawer, and 5 years later, pulling them out 10 years later. That's okay too. But
Yes.
if you're on a journey of recovery and renewing and restarts, that sounds like what you were on.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get it out, and you got it out. I
Yes.
commend you. I just can't imagine with all you had going on, but you stayed focused and you stayed loyal, you stayed dedicated to what God had for you, and that's what He had for you. And you
Yes.
got it out, you did it. So I'm just so proud of you,
Thank you.
and really excited and proud of you, because I'm watching you move. Just to watch it, I'm thinking, So if y'all not following Tika, y'all make sure y'all follow her after today because her journey is just beginning. That's all I have to say. It
Yeah.
is just beginning. So you will see her on stages. You will see her on panels. And yes, I am already putting it out there for you.
Yes. Thank you.
In stages and in speaking engagements and panel speaking and because we all know that the book when authors write a book, that's just a driver to get to other things they want to do.
Yeah.
That's just what it is to move to the other spaces. You just get the book. The
Yeah.
other stuff comes after. That's just the book, and everything happens after the book because people love to hear the story directly from an author. So they're always looking for speakers. So you will be on stages everywhere. So I'm just so glad that you took the time
Thank
with
you.
me today while you have the time. Because you're about to be so busy, you ain't gonna have the time for these little local interviews.
No,
So
I'm always gonna make
I'm
time
just
for
so happy,
home.
girl. I would be like, I knew her when. I knew her when. See, here's the show she did. So I can't wait because I know I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Now, let's talk about where last minute. Do you have any last minute things you want to share? And then we can tell us where let people know where to find your book.
Yeah, so I'll just let you know of some upcoming events for
Yes,
women
thank
who
you.
are local. So if you are in the Grand Rapids area or Kalamazoo, and if you plan on coming over to the Women's Expo at DeVos on March 15th, 16th, and 17th, I will be there on, I believe they call it the Authors Alley. So I'll have
Hmm.
a table there. So you can either, go to Amazon or you can come and visit me at the Women's Expo. And then in May, I'll be in New Orleans at the Black Ink Authors Festival. And I believe I'll put the date in the notes later.
Yes,
But
definitely put the
I'll
date
be,
in there.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll be
I
in
do have the Amazon link. If you can write it as you're scrolling, I'll let it scroll for a while.
Yep, that's my Amazon link. Oh, and then also be sure to go to my website, tikamccoy.com. There's a little more information about me on that page, and then that also has a link to Amazon also. So
Okay. So you already know. She just told you guys where to find her at, where to purchase her books. And it's Tika McCoy,
tikamccoy.com.
Tika
Yep.
M. I can't write Tika MCCOY .com. So Tika McCoy, I hope I got it right. TikaMcCoy.com is the website.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. Um, and we want to make sure there we go. I had to put it in while you were talking right quick.
Yes.
So TikaMcCoy.com is where you're going to find her. And I already put the link for where to find her book on Amazon. And of course, I left that in the description already. So you already have that in the description. The link to purchase the book, TikaMcCoy.com is where you're going to find her. And yeah, all I know is just get the book, just share the book,
But
and make sure that you support our local author
thank
because
you. Yes.
she going to New Orleans, Kalamazoo. This girl is everywhere. So she is not just staying within these geographical walls, these little boundaries of GR. Because if you're an author, your stuff should be online and you should be moving around so people can find and meet and greet you. You can't
Yes.
just sell books, being at home on your computer, watching the sales go up on Amazon.
No. No.
And please tell them, Tika, we talked earlier before we went on why it's important for authors to get out. Please share that.
Yeah, one of the things. So I just got back from Detroit a couple weekends ago. I went to a book fair, had a table, and we had foot traffic. And for those people that came in, purchased books. But one of the things that I was sharing with Linda, like I was excited to share books, but I was so excited to meet other authors and to make connections and to just see how they had their table set up and to just learn some best practices. And I also made a connection with the author. We shared stories about some of our childhood struggles growing up. So I stuttered when I was young. And so she had a book there on overcoming stuttering. And so she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about maybe doing an anthology on stuttering. Would you write a chapter?" I'm like, absolutely. Reach out to me if that happens. So
Shut
just
up.
being able to make connections with people. So that in itself is great. And then the other thing that's great in terms of going out, meeting women is hearing their stories and sharing my story, just having that connection and that fellowship. That in itself was just wonderful, to be able to just have a 15-minute talk with someone coming to the table.
Yes.
That's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. I am so glad you got that out, because again, we talk about this constantly, because y'all know I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about connections and support and why you need to get out, why you need to connect, why you need to be seen, being visible. Because again, we can sit behind a computer all day and make connections on social media, TikTok, Facebook, IG. Those are non-direct um, connections, and it's just typing, it's just on a group, it's just on in the groups. But you have to get out, because you want to meet people face to face, and you don't know what other conversations that you'll, like Tika was sharing, that you have that other connection that you can end up collaborating, partnering. It's so much you can do and grow your business, growing your network.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. You have to get out. So sometimes we look at the monetary opportunity. How many book sales? That wasn't useful. That wasn't beneficial. I lost money because I only sold 10 books. But yes, that opportunity that came from that 10 book was
Yes.
so much greater,
Yes.
so much more, by the opportunity just by being in the space. So y'all get in the space, listen to what Tika said. If you got a book out there, get on this show, get on other shows, share your book, all that. You just need to do all the above so people know that you're out there. And I know you just have to do it. I do have some last minute people popped in here. Thank you so much, Kimberly, again. Thank you so much. It was a great show, you guys. If you're in the replay, just make sure you leave your comments, and Tika will have information in the comments as well for upcoming events and where she's going to be at. So she's definitely going to place that in here for when you come back for the replay, so you know where to find her at. So thank you, Kimberly, for being in the audience. Thank you, Odessa, for showing up. Thank you. Cheryl just popped up. Cheryl is an author, been a part of Hookah Sista for many, many years. Cheryl is another one. She was just like you. She's from Jackson. She would pop up here, come to our meetings and stuff. And Cheryl came to, you remember Cheryl? She was, you were at our 10-year anniversary, Tika. Yeah. She was a young girl who came from Detroit, from Jackson. So Cheryl's another author. She promoted her book, did a lot of vendor shows, everything you said. She everywhere. She's right in Jackson. That girl, she ended up connecting with someone in the group, Hook a Sister Up. This girl took a plane. I don't know where she was at, but she was on someone's talk show. I mean, yes. It's crazy. Just from being a part of the group, connecting, it led her to, yeah, his story is just crazy. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for popping on here.
Thank you.
You'll definitely meet with Tika, because she's inside the group, Cheryl. So definitely connect with her. She'll be at the Women Who Write here in town. Women Who Write, Women's Expo here in town. It's a 3-day event here in town if you make it. But definitely make sure you connect with her. She's doing great things. She's always in your area. She just left a Detroit book fair not long ago, but I know she's will be in your area. So you'll connect somewhere along the way, Cheryl. Thank you so Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, last time you saw me, I had the dreads. So I'm back to myself, Cheryl. Thank you so much. But yeah, make sure you connect. If there's anything else anyone want to share, pop in here. Tika, thank you again for allowing me to interview you. Thank you guys for jumping on here, being a guest tonight. Thank you. I know, Cheryl. So yes,
my pleasure.
But make sure again that you purchase a book. I have the link in here. You guys know where to find it. She is going to be sharing. The link is in the description. Broken Clay. Okay, Broken Clay. Let me make sure I get my information. Broken Clay, Finding Renewal in the Potter's Hands. Yeah. Thank you again for joining us, Tika. It was a beautiful time. We learned a lot about the book. And definitely feel free to come back and be a guest anytime, because we want to catch you before you just really get up there. So you can feel free to come back anytime and give us some updates, because I'm curious to know how it goes. You stay put, because we want to talk after, so don't go anywhere. But yes, thank you again for being our guest. You guys definitely come back. If you are an author and you would love to come on the show, you see how it works. I asked a couple questions. We share excerpts from your book. We talk. People pop in here, say some things, and that's it. It was simple. 20, 25 minutes. Jump on here, share your book. Don't be afraid. Promote your book. You want to get out there so people can see you. Yes. There you go, Shell. She's the rabbit who follows the trail.
That's right.
That's how it works. So thank you again for being our guest. You know where to find us. Hope to see you and interview you soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.